This is a CAS instructional video covering SailWorks Pro advanced features. In this video, we will import a database file via Excel, set up a keypad, and show off other various features of the software. If you have not downloaded and installed SailWorks Pro, please do so now. You can find it on our website at CAS-USA.com. Okay, in this part of the video, we will be covering the advanced configuration and the PLU data fields and what everything does. I'd encourage you to watch the first video, the intro to the software. It's the first video in our series. It shows how to install the software and what brief overview of what everything does. But just for the sake of this video, we are just going to look at the PLU fields here first. Obviously, if you've worked with this before, it's all very familiar in what's on your scale, your department, your PLU number, your PLU type. PLU type is important to remember this number, 1, 2, and 3, and what they are for your import and export later on. Your item code is for your POS system usually. If you have a preset item number, that's what you would enter here. Name 1 and name 2 are enabled by default. You can also add a name 3 and 4. We'll show you how to do that in a second. Now, first thing we're going to do is show the additional PLU fields that you can get. Go to the Config tab and navigate to the PLU fields option. Here you can see all of the additional options that you can enable. Now, enabling these options does not always mean they'll show up on your label. You first have to add them to your label or make sure that they're enabled on the scale. But adding an option here, we added name 3. You can see that as soon as you add it, it pops up right there. The same goes for removing it. And now we're going to go to the Data tab and overview some of the things you can add here and what everything does. Obviously, we already covered what department does in the last video, but you can add your different departments. I'd recommend before importing and exporting, add where all your departments are and the number that you want to correspond there. Group is another thing you can add to group things together for editing prices by a group. You can do that through Excel, and it's handy for grouping things together that you might discount all at once. The tax rate is not something that's used too often, so we're not going to cover that. The sales message is something that you can add and could be added to your label or a scrolling message on your scale. We're going to add this message here. Again, you have to add this to your label, and you can see how to do that on our label editor video. In this video, we're just going to show how to add it on the software. This is country of origin. Used to be something you had to have on a label. It's not so widespread anymore that you have to have that, but it is there if you need it. Barcode is something that we'll go more in depth on a barcode specific video, but we will show how to add the basic ones here. Hit add, you can see the different types that you can add. You can change one depending on what your POS system needs. The rest of the options here, other than country of origin, are sparsely used. If you do need it, it is in the manual and what it does, but we're going to cover just the popular things that are used here. The country is a popular option that you can add to your label and to your PLUs. Okay, now we're going to look at the Store tab. This is where you will add your store ID, which is the name of your restaurant or your deli or your store name and location. You want to add that here because when you add this and it shows up in your label, this is what you'll see. So if you have multiple stores or you want a different store name to show up depending on what part of your store it's sold at, you can change that and add them all here. Make sure you add a phone number and a description if you'd like, because those are options you can add to your label once you get there. Make sure you save your work before you navigate away from any of these tabs. Here you can add a clerk ID number. If you want people to sign in to use the scale, you can do that here. The scroll message option is popular on the CL7200, as is the scanner map and movie and slideshow, but we'll get into that specifically for the CL7200 video. Okay, now that we're done with the Store tab, we're going to move back to the PLU tab and look at how you can update all of your information and everything that we just changed and added all in one shot instead of doing it one at a time. And this is a feature that not everyone knows about, and it's under the Scale tab. You have to make sure that you're obviously connected to your scale, so make sure you're scanning for it here. You can watch the How to Connect to Your Scale video. That will show how to do that. But for now, we are going to be looking at the Data Sync tab. You can see here the stuff in bold on the right is the stuff that we changed. We added a PLU, a department, a sales message, a barcode. Anything that is in light gray is something that hasn't changed since you last updated. You can actually see a total count too of the department, PLUs, and everything there on the right side. Now, we'll show just for what most people do, because they don't know about the Scale tab, is if you want to save a PLU, you have to select the PLUs and download. If you want to save your department, your group, your sales message, you have to press download for each one. To select them and download each one individually. So this could take some time if you're setting up a new scale. Whereas the Scale tab, under the Data Sync section, you can select either individually if you want to just update your PLUs, or you can just do everything in one shot. So no matter what you've updated on the scale or on the software will be updated and downloaded to the scale. If you want to do one specific, if you don't want to update your PLUs, or if you're just doing a price change, you can select them individually, as well as syncing your date and time. Okay, in this section of the video, we will be showing how to import and export via Excel format. This is handy if you have a full database in the Excel format already. It will save you a lot of time rather than updating all your PLUs. You can also use it to do quick price changes. Select File, Import, and find the file you want to import. It should be in the Microsoft Excel format, but there is two different document types, the Excel XLS and the XLSX. If you are having issues importing the XLS, try using an online or Microsoft file converter to convert it to an XLSX. If you do not see your file under these two options, then it is not saved under the correct format, or it is using an online version of Excel. Once you've found your file, and we have a few examples here of some that have the correct inputs and the incorrect ones, we will show you both of those. To start, we're going to take a look at our Excel spreadsheet. You can see all of the different things that we want to input. You don't have to have everything on your PLU fields, just the things you want. Here you can see our department has the number 2. A lot of the times people will put the name as well as the number, and this can hang up the import process, and we'll show that later. Now we have all of our PLUs. You want to make sure that each one is unique. We'll see if you change, if there's 2 as 116, like these 2 here, then the import will stop at this file and you won't get all the ones after that. It will get hung up. So make sure that your PLU numbers are all unique. If they are not preset already in your system, you can use the Sort Fill Cell option in Excel to create a unique number for all of them. We'll also highlight here too, this is just a test file, so we have some high prices on the unit price. These were supposed to be $5.99, not $599. So we'll show that later on, how to change that and how they'll come across once you import them. Okay, now that we know everything looks good on our spreadsheet, we'll head back over to CLWorks Pro. See here when we selected our file, all of these things on the gray boxes over here imported correctly and automatically by the software. Take another look at our spreadsheet. Under B, we can see PLU NO. And also see department has not moved over because department does not have the ending number part on it. Everything else we entered correctly, so it automatically moved over, but if it didn't, don't worry, you can assign it. Select it on the left and select the appropriate field on the right and use the right arrow key. If things for some reason don't import properly, you can always delete them and change them. In this case, everything looks good. We will import. You can update an existing database if you're adding things or doing price change, or you can clear all and start over if you're updating the scale completely. You can see on the left, we entered department number 2. Since our department number 2 on the software was Delhi, it automatically assigned it to that department. You'll also notice here that our scale has stopped at 211. This will happen sometimes. Doesn't mean that it stopped there. It just gets hung up on that screen. You can see our last item here was 220, beef stew. You can see that it actually went all the way to 220 beef stew. Once it says complete, you are good to go, and we will save our new database. Here, like we pointed out, you had code number 2 that's assigned to the deli. So I encourage you to create all your departments in CLWorks Pro before you try to import. And do not try to import department names because they don't always work and they will get hung up and give you issues. So find the number, assign the number, and that will work a lot easier for you. Okay, next we're going to look at the unit price. These all imported correctly, but as I said before, we entered the wrong price information. They shouldn't have been that expensive. We wanted it to be $5.99. So we're going to show how to make some changes to the price so the price comes in correctly. We're also going to show how things get hung up on the department. You can see under this file, our department has the name as well as the number. So to illustrate what happens with this, we're going to try to import this file that has the name under the department. Everything assigned the same. We'll assign our department number, hit OK. And you can see you get Excel import complete with 0 of our PLUs imported. This is a common error and a common service call. The fix for this is, as we pointed out, change this to a specific number only. Quick way to do this in Excel, if you want to enter the corresponding number and drag all the way down to the bottom and use the cell fill option. That will save you some time and frustration later importing and exporting. The same does apply for the PLU type. Earlier we stated to remember the weight type. You can check on CLWorks Pro to see what type you're looking for and assign the correct number. One other thing you do want to make sure is that Excel does not have a second sheet open. If you look down here, we have our Excel sheet that we want to use, and we have a blank sheet or one that has other text in it. You want to make sure that you disable and delete extra sheets. They can cause hangups and issues with importing. Make sure you have one sheet only. If you have multiple departments, make a separate sheet. Here on the right side, we're going to change the unit price, and we're going to look at what you don't want to do. See here we've entered $5.99 pound. This is a common mistake made when importing, and we will try to import this file. This is the error message you will get if you have incorrect information. It will even state where it got hung up, and it was the $5.99 a pound. So we will go back and fix that. If you would like your PLU to be $5.99 a pound, simply enter 5.99. Your PLU will be signed to the per pound category based on the number. We're also going to change one of our departments to make sure that Department 1 and 2 both assign correctly in the software. And to ensure the department number assigns automatically, we will add the NO to the end of our department column. Now we will import this file. Once we import this file, you can see that the department name on our Excel list automatically assigned to the associated field name in the software. This is because it matches exactly. If you do not want something that is on your Excel spreadsheet, simply select it on the right side and use the left arrow to remove it. This is useful if you're only updating prices for your PLUs. Once you have everything assigned, select OK. You can see here already that the department PLU number 1 that we changed assigned correctly. You can also see that that PLU is now have the correct price at $5.99 per pound. Okay, now that we're done with the import section of the video, we will move on to setting up your keypad. We will be doing this on a CL5500. CL7200 video will be posted shortly. Make sure you select the correct model. You're on a CL5500 bench type. And make sure you select the department that you want to set up. You'll have to set up a keypad for each department. See here, everything assigned to this department shows up on the left side. You can also use the search bar on the top right side to search for any PLUs you might be looking for. See here, the right side there looks just like your keypad on your scale. There are many options here, including the background color, font type, and we'll get to that in a minute. But the thing to point out here is the normal and shift tabs control which section you're assigning this PLU to. On your scale, using the shift button brings you down to the lower level of PLUs that you can assign, thus doubling the amount of speed keys you can have on your scale. Once you want to assign a PLU, simply drag it from the left to the keypad and drop it on the key that you would like it to be on. You can also change the key text. If you have abbreviations to shorten the text on the keypad, enter that here. Know that if you want to print this keypad out, keep it simple so the text does not get too small. We'll show how to do that later on. This example, we're just going to get some PLUs onto our keypad. Once you save your keypad, you will need to assign it to the location you want it to be saved. It will default to CLWorks Pro keypad. Make sure that you're saving all your keypads in this same location so that the CLWorks Pro software can find them later on. This will be our Delhi test keypad. Now that that is saved, we can see it under the File tab. Anytime you save a keypad, you will be able to access it here to ensure that you're setting up the correct departments. Selecting New will bring you to the keypad creation layout screen again, and that way we can assign our other department. Now we can see the only PLU that is in that department. We will save this to the other default department. Now we have both our departments here. Navigating between the two of them will allow us to see each one and assign each one. Back on the right side, we can see our PLUs again. I'm going to keep dragging until we fill out this top section. Save it. And now we're going to use the shift function. You can use this on your scale to double up your PLU numbers that the scale can hold. The way this works on the keypad is once you select shift, you will be assigning the shift button. We'll see what that does in a second. Once you drag it, you will see the smoke kielbasa is now on the bottom, split by a red line in between the two, meaning the top layer will be Asiago and the bottom layer will be the smoke kielbasa. You can access this on your scale by using the shift button. Now that we've done this, we'll look at some of the editing options you can do. You can add an image. This does not work as great on the 5500. It is more specific for the CL7200, and we will cover that in a future video. You can also clear out an image, change the text alignment, and add a background color. When printing the keypad, ensure that you're using a gloss type high quality paper. Otherwise, the text and the color might not look so good. If you'd like to print your keypad, use File, Print. This will print out a basic grid of your keypad that you can then insert on the scale underneath the slip cover. Once you're done editing your keypad, save your work and then navigate to the Download tab. Here you will get the key set option screen where you can save up to 5 different key sets to your scale. Once downloaded, you will see the new changes to your keypad on your scale. Make sure you test the shift function to see that both PLUs were assigned correctly. If you made any mistakes or want to make changes to a specific PLU assignment, simply travel back to the keypad option screen and make any necessary changes that you would like to do. Always make sure to save your work before downloading to your scale. That concludes the CLWorks Pro Advanced Features video. Please subscribe to our channel to be notified when any new videos are posted. Thank you for watching.